Hello, all. Welcome to another episode of Zero to Hero. And today we have Mr. Gregory George with us, who is a relationship coach. But before becoming a relationship coach, there's some story which follows and why he followed his heart to become a relationship coach. So let's welcome Mr. Gregory. Uh, Hi, welcome Gregory on my show. And
Hi,
yeah,
hi, Lena. I'm delighted to be with you and to share these moments. And thank you so much for having me over. So it's my
it's my
privilege.
it's my pleasure altogether. So, Greggy, let's not delay and just get into the interview. So, I would like to ask you about give us some introduction, throw some light on your who you are and what you do. Yeah.
Okay, fine. So, like I said, my name is Gregory George, and I'm a Mumbaikar, born and brought up in Bombay.
Okay.
And I come from an HR background actually, and specializing specifically into training in the field of training. So I worked for almost 32 years now, 32,
Mm.
33 years. So more than 3 decades I've been into training
Okay.
and worked for various small and medium enterprise companies. So right from an employee's, the time he enters into the company, his induction, his training into various profiles that he has, whether it is a customer service executive or whether it is a sales executive, whether it is a group leader, branch manager, or a director. So I have been into training of various levels of profile
Oh.
over the last 2 years. So it's been a privilege. It's been an honor, for me to, to choose this field of training because I always believe that, in training, you're imparting education,
True.
you're imparting empowerment, and you're imparting direction into
Mm-hmm.
people's lives.
Hmm.
So that's been my journey so far till I think till 2000, end of 2019.
Okay.
And then in 2020, unfortunately, what happened was the company that I was employed by couldn't afford me. And so I had to leave because we were not doing well. The company was not doing very well. So I had to rethink and reconsider my continuity with the company. And so I left the company. And unfortunately, as you know, 2020, the lockdown hit us
Right.
and huge challenges that faced us. By that time, I was what? I was 57 years old. So I don't have a problem about revealing my age. So that's not a problem for me.
Right.
So at that time, I was 57 years old. And then I really started reconsidering my life and saying, what do I want to do? Since I come from an HR background and specifically into training. So I said, I would like to do something in training, in the field of training as a
Right.
freelancer
Mm-hmm.
or, so I started doing some research, started looking around, going on the net and seeing what are the opportunities that are available.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually, by default, I stumbled into the industry of coaching.
Okay.
And fascinated me, it really fascinated me, the whole industry of coaching, because it resonated with my profile, into training. So I
Mm-hmm.
was very interested. I was very keen. So I did a course in coaching and I
Okay.
got myself a basic certification. And I was very excited. And so that's how I became a relationship coach. I had to reinvent myself. I had to rediscover myself, find myself afresh and anew.
Right.
And so there I am today. I've been now in this industry for the last 2 years as a coach and specifically into relationships because that's my background where I come from. So, you might ask me or your viewers might ask me, why relationship coach? There are so many other. There's a health coach, business coach, professional
Right.
coaches, yoga coaches. Why did you choose relationship coach?
Hmm.
So there is a reason behind it because me choosing the field of a relationship coach has got to do a lot with my background. It has got to do a lot with my upbringing, where I come from. So,
So
of
that was
course,
going
it
to
would.
be, sorry to interrupt you. That was going to be my next question. Would you like
Okay.
to tell us something more about your childhood, your upbringing? Because of course, I think I ask this to all my interviewees because I feel that upbringing has something to do with how you have maintained your mindset, the right mindset, as my theme goes, having the importance of right mindset. So yes, please.
Absolutely right. Lina, you're on the spot because, I learned in the last, at least 2 3 years, that it is our mindset that develops us to become who we are today.
True.
And one of the reasons why I chose the niche of being a relationship coach is because of my background. I was born in a very small middle class family, a joint family of very small, about 6 people were there. And then later on, of course, my younger sister was born. So we were just 7 people living in a very small room in Mumbai in a place called Parel. So that's where I grew up.
Okay.
And I began to realize at a very early age that I was living in a very dysfunctional family,
Okay.
highly dysfunctional family, which consisted of 7 people, including my parents, my grandmother, and my uncle and my auntie. So at a very early age, I must have been about 4 to 5 years old, where I could sense, something things are not right. Uh, you know, People were not happy in the family,
Mm-hmm.
and I grew up with a lot of noise in the family, with a lot of shouting, yelling and screaming, and so those things were kind of blowing into my ears in my growing up years.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, by the time I was, I think, 7 or 8 years old, my parents separated. My parents were living separately. They were not separated, but they were living separately. And so my understanding of what I was feeling at the age of 4, 5 came to pass, when at the age of 8. And then, things, I lost my father at a very young age. My father died when I was just 11 years old. My father was just 35. So my mother was the sole owner. She never had any support. Uh, you know, one man person, one just taking care of 2 children.
Right.
So I had a very traumatic childhood when I lost my father. So
Mm-hmm.
all these things played in your mind, as they say, no, a child, a child forms his thinking pattern by the time he's 10 years old or 8 to 10 years old.
Yeah.
His thinking pattern develops, and that's what happened to me. Unfortunately, my thinking patterns were very negative, were very destructive, were very
Mm-hmm.
kind of affected my life in many ways.
Mm-hmm.
And so for the first 15 years, it was a very tough time for me. I actually didn't know what was happening to my life. Father died at a very early age, parents separated, living in a highly dysfunctional family, not having a place of our own to live in. We
Mm-hmm.
lived in various homes, different people. My mother worked very hard. She was a very hard-working woman who took care of us.
Mm-hmm.
And so this went on till I was, I think, in the 10th standard when I was 15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as time passed by, I grew up, got married. Unfortunately, the marriage didn't last. It didn't last in the sense I was in the relationship for 20 years. I have two lovely children, two beautiful children, and I'm very close to them. They are very close to me. We share a very close bond with each other. Of course, they are no more children now. They have become adults,
Mm-hmm.
and and they are living their own lives. So this was my background that I came from.
Okay.
Highly traumatic, highly challenging relationships,
Mm-hmm.
dysfunctional relationships, frustrating relationships. Not only as a child, even when I grew up into my marriage, into my adulthood, and the good thing about all these things was I never gave up on life.
Okay.
I always believed, and I come from a football background, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to play football on a professional level.
Mm-hmm.
So that spirit of playing football was very much in me, of not giving up. You got to fight, you
Right.
got to win the game, and and let's not give up till the end.
Right.
So that kind of a spirit was there within me,
Mm-hmm.
and which kept me going, to be honest. Because after being in a relationship for 20 years, to give it up and to terminate it and to say, you've got to move on,
Mm-hmm.
is quite a painful experience, in itself. That you've given yourself for 20 years and you have to then finally end it. It's painful. It's quite difficult.
So I would
So
like
that
to
has been
interrupt.
my journey.
Okay, I
Sure,
would
sure.
like to interrupt you here and
Sorry,
ask
you
you
please
that.
interrupt me, because when I talk, I just go on the floor.
Sorry, I can understand. It does happen. So I would just like to ask you, did your childhood actually affect your marriage? Because when you say you were married for 20 years, was you were just pulling on with it, or for the sake of children, like many times it does happen with couples? Because since you're a relationship coach, so today is going to be more about relationship. So
Hmm.
was it dragging yourself just to, many times it does happen that for children we want to stay together,
Right, right.
getting left in the relationship, but it does happen with many couples that they just want to stay because they don't want to the children to get affected with it. So I can understand having a lot of childhood trauma, seeing that negative beliefs which have been settled into you. You must be having your own limited beliefs related to relationship. So was that the reason, or was there something else that you stayed on for so long and then decided to move on with that relationship?
Sure. It's a good question. I think I must share one experience with you.
Hmm.
When I was 23 years old, I had a very powerful spiritual experience in my life. This was before my marriage. Okay?
Hmm.
And I think what kept me in that relationship were the values that which I was, after that experience, I had those values of commitment, of not giving up, of working it through,
Hmm.
whatever happens, you've got
Right.
to press on and you have to persevere. So those values actually helped me to stay in ground.
Hmm.
And also the fact, somewhere in my mind, I said, because I never had a good childhood, or because I didn't see a good marriage in our own family, I made a commitment to myself. I said, I am going to be a good father.
True.
I am going to be a father that's going to love my children, look after them, care for them, no matter what happens. And I'm going to stick my ground. And I think if I look back to those 20 years of my life, I think those were the values with which I grew up after that powerful experience that I had, which kept me afloat, which kept me moving on, which kept me pressing the grounds that I was going through, that
Hmm.
kept me facing the challenges. And I think, the mindset at this point of time, I would like to say, since your program is all about the mindset,
Hmm.
it is so important to have a, the mindset has to be right. You have to have a healthy mindset in order to push yourself to the next level. So I
True.
think if I look back to my life and I see those 20, 25 years, whatever, I think those are the values that which I grew up, that I believed in, which were very close to my heart,
Hmm.
that helped me to move on and to press on in life. Because I'll tell you, many of my friends, when they look at my life, they say, Greg, how do you manage? I mean, if anybody would be in front, as they say, no, in एक कहावत है ना कि अच्छे लोगों के साथ बुरी चीज होती है, you know, that bad things always happen to good people. And I was kind of in on that category. But, Lena, in the last, I think 4, 5 years, I realized that was a wrong perception.
Hmm.
Really, I felt, I realized in my life as I look back to those, whatever, 55, 57 years that I lived,
Hmm.
I realized that there was a need for me to change my mindset about certain things that have had happened to me in the past.
Right.
And so that became a kind of a milestone, not a milestone, basically, it became a baseline for me to
Hmm.
push myself to the next level.
True.
So that's it. That's what happened to me.
So as you said, bad things happen to good people. So I always tell this to myself because been through a lot. So I can understand, I can relate, I can empathize with you what you must have been through. So I always feel that whatever happens to you and not happens for you and not
For
to
you,
you.
up to you.
It happens for you because there is a reason. There's always some reason. Maybe you are evolving as a person, maybe you're getting strong as
Right.
a person,
Very,
because these things actually make you so strong. At that
right.
moment
Very true.
we feel that, okay, we sit and cry, why me, and all that. But eventually if you realize that this is happening for you and not
Correct.
to you. So there's a major difference between for and to here, right? So I think that is what I always believe, that people who sit and cry or people who cannot manage, they don't get those stresses. But
Right.
we as strong people, we can manage that, and so we handle it well, and so we get those problems. So
Very
it
true.
is
Yeah.
happening for
In
us
fact,
to
I would make,
evolve as a strong person in life.
right. In fact, I would take it a little one step further.
Hmm.
You know, I'm a firm believer in God. I'm sure everybody is a firm
Yeah,
believer in God.
most of people,
And
yeah.
I always believe, that in all things, the Almighty God works for our good, because He's a good God and He always has good things in mind. So with that mindset, if we look to life, that there's a saying, it says that anything that has happened into your life till today and even in the future, it happened because it couldn't have happened in a better way.
True.
Now, that doesn't mean that, everything that happened was pleasant, or certain things would have happened which shouldn't have happened.
Right.
But till now, or till even in the future, whatever happens in our lives couldn't have happened in a better way, because if it could, then it would. So when you have that
So
frame of
that's
mind, and,
right.
and when you accept that fact in your life and say, hey, listen, and like you rightly said, things don't happen to you, they happen for you. They happen for you to take you to the next level. And that's what I have learned in my journey in life, that
Right.
whatever traumatic experience that I had in my past, whatever relationship crisis that I went through, maybe not for my not for my fault, or not because anything bad that I did, but it happened because it couldn't have happened in a better way. But in that process, one of the most amazing things that happened to me is I discovered myself. You know,
Good.
I began to go on a discovery journey. I began to realize what are my desires, what are my longings.
Hmm.
Through those painful experiences of my life, I realized, oh wow, this is what actually I desire in a relationship. This is what I actually long for in a relationship.
Right.
This is how I want to live my life in this relationship.
Good.
And I learned the art of learning to articulate my feelings. I learned the science of how do you articulate what are your desires, Greg?
Hmm.
What do you want in a relationship? What are you longing for? What
Right.
is your passion? And that is what happened to me. That in the process, and I tell you, I mean, renewing your mind over the last events of 60 years is not so easy, because I had so much to deal with in my life, with what I had gone through. Oh, my parents didn't love me, they didn't take care of me, and this person did that to me, and that person did that to me, and he is a bad person, and that is a bad person. We go through all this life and we miss out on discovering who you really are. And that is what happened to me. I began to discover myself, how I am made, how I am created. What is it that ticks me? What is that I long for? What is my passion? What do I want in life? What are my dreams? When I finished I did this certificate coaching session about 2.5 years back, and I was talking to my children. One day my daughter looked at me and said, Dad, you're talking like you're a 23-year-old man who's just finished his career and he's looking forward to life. And I am 60 by that time. I'm
Right.
58 now. I'm almost into my 60th year. So that was a compliment from my child, from my children,
Right.
that Dad, you change so much. You're thinking so differently. You're
Right.
thinking like how I would think when I'm 25, 26 years old. So that tremendous change came into my life, where I think I learned the art of how do you renew your experiences of life. How do you reframe your experiences of life? How do you create a new perception for yourself? That is what I went through. That I learned to create a new perception of everything that happened in my life.
Mhm.
And Leena, one of the things which I would like to also share about myself, and also maybe for your viewers, is if you want to learn to renew the way you think and create a new perception,
Mhm.
what I learned is learn to love yourself.
True.
Whatever happened in your life as a child, listen, it was not your fault. You were a child. Your mind was not developed to comprehend and to, analyze what was happening. So whatever came into your mind, you got that meaning into your life. Like, for example, I'll tell you honestly, as a child, I grew up with the feeling that, my mother never loved me. That's the feeling I grew up till the time she almost died when I was 24 years old.
Oh. Okay.
That is 35 years back.
Mhm.
But later on, when I began to look at my mother's life, and when I looked at what she went through as a person,
Mhm.
I realized, my goodness, I salute this woman. I had such a deep respect for her, but it was a bit late by that time. But I had such a healthy gratitude and respect for my mother. And here was a young woman, never had a good marriage, separated. lost her husband, all alone, taking care of her two children and slogging it out and working hard and bringing us up. And my whole perception of my mother changed. That
It
from
was,
saying that, oh, she never loved. Yeah,
but it
from
was
saying
too
that,
late then. So,
pardon me,
but it was too late then, I said.
too late then.
Yeah,
But I grew up, yeah, such a healthy respect and saying, so I had to change my perception about this is just one incident, Lena.
yeah,
I had to go through many, many things what people did to me, what I went through my relationships. I had to reframe, I had to renew, I had to think differently. And one of the things that helped me in thinking differently about my own life is to look at people with love and compassion. So all those people who are there, who are part of my life till now, I began to look at them with a sense of a lot of love and a lot of compassion to them, because it was those people who were part of my life that made me to become the person that I am today. And so this has been my journey, in terms of kind of just learning how to renew our mind, how do you work out instead of finding faults. Find out what did you learn in your life, what did you learn through those experiences, how did it help you, how did it make you to move forward, and now what is the next jump that you want to go ahead. For those things, the mind has to be strong, the mind has to be healthy and has to be constructive.
right.
So that's what
I
I can
think
say about
there's
that.
a, what, good learning for everyone. Like, as we say, zero to hero doesn't mean always, that uh, in my first episode itself, I have said that it doesn't mean like being poor and then becoming rich. It's like
Correct.
how you develop as a person, having a right
Right.
mindset. Now here, when you say that your upbringing was not good, or maybe you had that belief that no one loved you and all that, right? And that affected your relationship, your marriage also.
Correct. Very true.
But yet you tried to be committed and be a good father and be there for the children and all that. But again, I can understand what it must have been, or how difficult it must have been to survive when you don't get that love, or when you feel you're just compelled to follow, or just compelled to push on doing that thing,
Yeah.
right? And again, then when now you look back at things and you give gratitude to it, saying that okay,
Very,
it has helped me grow as a person. So
very
that
true.
is
Very,
the improvement that has happened in you. And I would like to tell people again, when as a coach, like you are a coach, I'm a coach, okay? So why coaching is important, or why you should have a coach in your life, is because that person helps you to understand, or go deep within and introspect, because we have the answers ourselves. But only thing is,
right.
we don't have that guidance how to get out the potential within us.
Correct. Very
Right?
true.
So yeah. So here again, I would like to tell people that people who have difficult relationships, Reggie is there to help you out, because he's
Mhm.
been. See, it is when you have experienced there that thing, it is much easier to help others, because
Very
you've
true. Yeah.
been there.
Absolutely.
It's not like okay, I'm just a coach and okay, you have this problem and I help you out. No, because if I've been into that problem, I'll understand the severity of it in much better way.
Very, absolutely.
So yes,
Absolutely.
so I think you have that experience, and you know how to deal with people, and you have that compassion for others. You have that love for people. You've forgiven people, and that is, I think, very good virtue. Where if you forgive, you don't hold grudges, because already what has happened has happened, but it has made you
Correct.
into a stronger person. So again,
Absolutely. Yes.
yeah. Directly, I would like to continue with this and ask you about your future. Like, what happened after the first marriage? I know you are a good friend of your kids, but of course, if things
Close
were
to in
not
between.
happening, yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry for that. So I was asking you, like, I know, like, for 20 years you continued. You are a good friend of your kids, okay? But after that, like, though you kept on continuing, whatever happened, you moved on after a particular period when it was unbearable for you, right? After that, what happened? How did life move on?
After that, what happened?
Yeah, how did you move on in life then?
Yeah, like I said, my values were actually my baselines
Hmm.
in terms of what made me move forward. And also, like for example, I think the most, if I could put a finger on one thing in the last maybe 3 or 4 years, the mindset, changing my mindset has been very crucial for me. Like your program, you said, no, from a zero to hero. Becoming a hero does not mean that you have victory in everything and you are rich and you are a happy man and you are, everything is going well with you. No, that's not it. I go through various challenges even now. I face a lot of challenges even now. But the most important thing for me is I'm always in an exciting state of being. I don't allow depression to come in because I know how to snap out of it immediately. Don't do I go through some disappointing times? Of course I do. Do I go through times where I feel nothing is happening? Of course I do. But I don't remain in that situation. I'm able to snap out of it quickly and immediately. And one of the things, like I said, the first thing was having love and gratitude. And the second thing that has helped me to be in that state is to have a desire,
Yeah.
to have a goal in life, to have a passion in life. So, like, I would like to ask some of even our audience, like, what
Hmm.
is your desire? What is it that drives you to get up in the morning and to face the day? You must have a desire in life. You must have a longing for which drives you to move forward. And so that has been my, what should I say? That has been my vitamin. That has been my tablet. That I have a desire, I have a goal, I want to reach a particular place. I want to accomplish certain things for me and for my family, for my loved ones. And
Hmm.
also the most important thing that I love is to reaching out to people. Because of what I have gone through, I can empower people to see where they need to perhaps make certain adjustments in their lives, how
Hmm.
they can make their lives more beautiful, what they need to do, how they can change their perspective. So this is my journey way forward, is to helping and empowering people to live a wholesome life, to live a happy life, to live a healthy life, to be able to make powerful decisions and move towards the goal that they have in life.
Right.
So yes, the mindset, I believe, personally plays a very important role. You
Hmm.
need to learn to develop and grow into developing a mindset that is very constructive and that is pushing you forward to the next level. That's what I feel.
Yeah. Okay. Any particular incident in your life which, where you were very sad, dejected, or as you said, many times we think, why do these things happen to us, to good people? So, any such
Oh, there are
incident
plenty.
which, yeah, anything what you would like to share?
There are plenty. I mean, 60 years. I mean,
Yeah,
uh, plenty of
experience.
them.
Yeah.
I can share one moment of my life, which has always remained in my mind.
Hmm.
When my father died, actually, I was just, I think I was 11 years old, and I never had a great relationship with my father because, as I said, we lived separate lives.
Hmm.
So when my father died, I didn't cry, to be honest. There were no tears in my eyes. Not that I was very happy or anything, but I couldn't express my emotions. I
Hmm.
couldn't I couldn't sense what was my loss. I couldn't articulate, or I mean, I was just 11 years old, so I couldn't process my feelings as to what I
Hmm.
was going through. But after that, I became a very introvert child. I became a very quiet, a very subdued child, wouldn't be part of any parties, always lived alone.
Hmm.
And from that place of being introvert to today, helping and empowering people to transform their lives, it's been a massive journey for me.
Hmm.
But that is the moment which I will always remember, and I always, it remains in my mind. And I was 11 years old, and by the time I was maybe 26, 27, when I became a father, I had made a decision that I'm going to be a good father to my children.
Right.
And I won't say that I became a good father. I think I would say my children made me a good father. So all
Okay.
credit goes to both my kids, who enabled me, who through all my weaknesses and my shortcomings,
Hmm.
they were still there for me, and they allowed me to father them, to take care of them, to look after them. And today I'm so proud of both of them. They're both grown up now,
Hmm.
and they are adults. They are living their own lives. But for me, as I live my life, no, Lena,
Yeah.
for me, my trophy is my two kids.
True.
Is that I will cherish that relationship, till I conclude my life on this earth. So that has been my trophy. My two children have been my trophies.
It's really amazing, because if you many times have seen that when people have had a very bad childhood or they have childhood trauma, and they don't know how to process that thing, it does
Correct.
follow in their relationships. Of course, you had a bad relationship where maybe there were several reasons which we are not going into detail, but
Hmm.
you were a good father. What love you didn't get, you tried to give your kids, and I think that's really amazing. You know,
Thank
so that again shows your mindset, like how you kept yourself always positive and thought of the good things that you could do in your future, which you didn't get, or which
Absolutely.
you understood that okay, these were the flaws and I need to correct these flaws. So you took action towards it. So,
Yes.
Gregory, I know there's a lot to talk, but due to time
Oh my.
limitations, we need
Yes.
to
Yes.
stop. So, not exactly right here, but before that, I would like to ask you, what message do you want to give? Now, you have seen life so much, like you're almost 60, which you don't look like. It's a compliment. So, you don't look
Thank you.
60. Yeah. So, what message would you like to give to the youth today? Because I've seen many youth, they are crying, and there are many failed relationships that are happening. Since you are a relationship coach, I would like to talk about that. What message would you like to give people who are getting married or who are married? Something that would be helpful to
Oh, that's quite a lot in the basket. But I would say this, for people in general all over, whether it is a youth or adult, I would say this. Listen, you have only one life to live. And in this one life, I want to tell you, celebrate yourself. Celebrate who you are because there is nobody like you. Even a twin, though they look alike, their fingerprints are different. They have two different identities. So, my message to everybody who's looking at this session is learn to celebrate yourself. Learn to discover yourself through whatever has happened. Forget about what people did to you. People are going to do to you, they will continue to do to you. But in the process, learn to discover yourself because that is the greatest gift that you can give yourself is to not only to discover yourself, but in discovering yourself, you will be able to be a blessing to the others. You will be able to reach out to the others. You will make other people's lives happy. So that's my message. Celebrate yourself, learn to renew and to process the experiences of your life in a positive way, in a healthy way, and just celebrate who you are.
That's really amazing, to celebrate life. Uh, my last episode, which you must have seen. So again, we had a iron lady, what I call her, my friend. So she said that the same thing, that enjoy every day of your life because we don't know what would
Correct.
happen tomorrow. So again, as you said, celebrate yourself, celebrate your life. It's such a huge message to the youth today. We keep on thinking about the future and we stop living today. So I
Correct.
think
Very
that's amazing that every day is a blessing to you. Enjoy it, live it to the fullest. Don't keep
yes.
grudges. And for again in relationship, I think one message I would like to give from my end is have open communication. Because I feel that
Yes.
when there's no communication amongst people, that is where the fights start. We just
Correct.
assume that okay, he must be thinking like this, and he assumes that she must be thinking like this, where maybe both are not assuming, both are not thinking on that platform,
Correct. Very
right?
true.
So I think
Communication is
we need to have an open communication in that area. So,
absolutely.
so I hope you agree on that.
Oh, I
So
absolutely resonate with that. I absolutely resonate with that.
yeah. So Gregory, it was really nice talking to you. I hope that this continues, but due to a time limitation, we need to stop. I am truly blessed to have a friend like you and have you on my show. It was amazing talking to you. So many snippets you've given today to people who uh, must be having a childhood trauma, must have gone through so many things in their life. But if you possess the right mindset, uh, what I would like to say is your thoughts make you. If you are having good thoughts, you'll be a good person. If your thoughts are negative, you'll be always negative.
Absolutely. Very
So,
true.
I would like to end it over here, saying that have positive thoughts always and keep positive so your mindset will be important. mindset will be always positive, and it's important to have a right mindset. So thank you again, Gregory, for your time and
Privilege,
the
privilege.
valuable inputs you have given. Yes, sorry.
Thank you for having me on your show. It's
Yeah,
a privilege to me. I'm delighted, and thanks so much. Wish you all the best for your future endeavors also.
thank you. That means a lot, and wish you the same again.
Thank you.
And yes, so
Hopefully, we'll meet each other again.
yes, if people are watching, yes, we would be soon going live on Insta. We would be putting
Oh,
the
wow, wonderful.
details about it soon. So
Great.
people who are related, yeah, I would love to do that with you. Going live, talking about
Oh,
relationship.
definitely. I will
Yes,
be honored. Thank you.
yeah, sure. So we'll be soon coming live on Insta, guys. Please watch us.
Yeah. Thanks,
Okay.
Lena.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye
Bye.
bye. Have a great day. Bye. Take care.